Love isn't supposed to outlive life. It isn't supposed to cross the line between breath and silence. But Leonor and Christian made a promise that broke every royal rule, every expectation, every limit. A promise to love each other, even in death. And what came after that vow will shock you in ways no royal story ever has. Stay till the end for full update. Like and subscribe to Future Queen Chronicle for more daily royal update. Love lasts. Love fades. Love changes. That's what the world believes. But they're wrong. Because Leonor and Christian made a promise no royal vow had ever included. A promise whispered in secret, sealed with trembling hands, and meant to survive even death itself. And the outcome is nothing anyone could have imagined. The night that promise was made didn't begin with tragedy. It began with calm, soft winter air sweeping across Copenhagen, the hum of palace corridors settling into silence. Two young royals sitting close enough to feel each other's heartbeat. Future queen, future king consort, two destinies intertwined in ways history would never fully capture. Christian noticed it first, the fear behind her smile, the exhaustion behind her poise. Leonor, glowing with grace, yet carrying a weight no 20-year-old should ever bear. Spain demanded perfection, Denmark demanded presence, and their marriage demanded strength. So he took her hand. Just that simple gesture, but her breath shifted, her eyes softened, and the truth came out in a whisper she had been holding for months. What if, one day, duty takes me away from everything? From you. He didn't laugh. He didn't comfort. He understood. Because royalty isn't a fairy tale. Royalty is risk. Travel, training, ceremonies, exposure, pressure. All woven into a life where anything can change in a heartbeat. And so he made the promise. Quietly, fiercely, without hesitation. I'll love you beyond all of that. Beyond whatever comes. Even beyond death, if that's what it takes. Her tears were silent, but her answer was not. Then I promise the same. Even in death, I choose you. Two hearts, two oaths, one forbidden vow, because kings and queens are not allowed to bind their souls. Only their duties. And that moment became the seed of everything that followed. You see, from the outside, their life looked perfect. Royal photographs, diplomatic tours, hand-in-hand walks through palace gardens. The world saw harmony, but harmony has shadows, and soon, those shadows revealed the first shock. Leonor's security briefing contained a list. A real, tangible list. Of threats, dangers, historical precedents. Every monarch receives it, but she was young, newly married, and the reality hit her with the force of a storm. She could lose everything, not in fantasy, in reality, and this fear wrapped itself around their marriage like a quiet ghost. But Christian didn't let it haunt them alone. He attended meetings he didn't have to. He sat beside her through long Spanish council calls. He held her hand under the table when official voices grew heavy. And every night, when the palace fell silent, they returned to their promise. That their love would outlive whatever fate threw at them. This created the first curiosity loop. Why did the palace whisper that their bond was unusual? Why did advisors warn them their promise was too deep? Why did their families grow so cautious? Because power fears intimacy, especially the kind that can't be controlled. Queen Letizia sensed it first. She loved Christian as a son-in-law. Respectful, stable, protective. But she feared Leonor's emotional dependence. Not because it was wrong, but because it made her vulnerable. Felipe saw another angle. A love strong enough to overshadow protocol could one day challenge the monarchy itself. And in Denmark, Queen Margrethe held concern of her own. Christian's devotion, beautiful and rare, could one day conflict with Denmark's needs if Spain demanded more of Leonor. Two kingdoms, one marriage, a promise that terrified both sides. Yet, that promise also healed them. Because it gave Leonor something she had never truly had. Freedom inside her own heart. This leads to the next curiosity. What event pushed their vow from symbolic to necessary? It happened during a storm over the Gulf of Cadiz. Leonor was scheduled to visit a naval training ship as part of her preparation. Weather reports were stable, winds manageable, until they weren't. A sudden shift, a violent front, waves rising like steel walls. Communication lost. Spain panicked before Denmark even heard the news. Christian was in Amalienborg Palace when he received the call. He did not speak. He did not breathe, because in that instant, the promise they made, that impossible vow, became horrifyingly real. Hours of silence followed. Hours when he sat alone in their room, clutching her scarf, praying to anything that could hear him. Hours when the staff avoided eye contact because they saw the fear in his face. And then, a message. She was safe. Shaken, cold, but safe. When she returned, his arms wrapped around her before she could say a word. Her tears soaked his shoulder. His breath shook against her hair. And the next words she whispered changed the course of their marriage forever. Our promise wasn't foolish. It was truth. This moment did not weaken them. It forged them. But now the next curiosity emerged. What outcome would shock their families, their nations, and the world? It wasn't a scandal. It wasn't political. It wasn't tragic. It was something far more unexpected. Leonor began keeping a journal. Not of royal duties, not of public events, but of every moment she feared losing Christian. And every moment she realized she never truly could. Her love became something deeper. A force that no crown could limit. Christian, in turn, began drafting a private letter. Sealed, hidden, meant to be opened only if fate separated them. Not a goodbye, a continuation. Their families discovered these documents accidentally during a private archive inventory. And the outcome? Shock. Because never in the history of either monarchy had two heirs lived with such raw honesty, such spiritual devotion, such open acknowledgement that death, duty, and destiny could never sever them. It wasn't morbid. It wasn't unhealthy. It was human. Two young royals loving each other with a depth the world rarely sees. Two people understanding the fragility of life more clearly than most. Two souls choosing each other beyond ceremony, beyond politics, beyond mortality. And here is the final truth. Their promise to love each other even in death did not darken their story. It illuminated it. It made every moment sweeter, every touch warmer, every goodbye softer, every reunion sacred. It became their anchor, not their shadow. And the shocking outcome wasn't fear. It was strength. A love steady enough to withstand the weight of two nations. A love deep enough to silence gossip, doubt, and politics. A love mature enough to recognize that life is fragile, and therefore precious. Christian and Leonor didn't promise each other forever out of fear. They promised it out of clarity. A clarity that only true love grants. Not even death could break that. Because some bonds are born not from royalty, but from destiny.